ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next episode of the MLB Guardcast. I am Mike Vorhies. He is the man, the myth, the legend, Bryan Shaw. Good evening, Mr. Shaw, and how are you this evening, sir?
Mike, I couldn't be better
I
because
know, right?
our Cleveland Guardians are AL Central champions.
Oh,
Who
hold
would have
on.
believed
Can
it?
you say that one more time? I think I thought I was dreaming for a second there.
We've been saying they've been in first place a lot this season, but now they are AL Central champions.
And yes,
They
we
clinched
will have.
on Sunday.
We did, but we didn't even need to win. That was the best part. They clinched before the win. With the White Sox losing, we had automatically clinched before the game even ended.
The White Sox crumbled.
Thanks, White Sox.
Before we could put the cherry on top, which was Stephen Kwan's grand slam to basically finish it off and put no doubt into
I'm going to get all choked up. Stop. I'm going to get all choked up talking about Stephen Kwan. Hold up. We'll talk about him later. Oh, man. But I got a question for you, Bryan. I had a question. Are you looking to spruce up your company's logo or website? Are you looking for help when it comes to digital arts and marketing? Look no further than NovaDigitalArts. You can check their work out at NovaDigitalArts at iCloud.com. Tell them the MLB Guardcast sent you. NovaDigitalArts, located in Green, Ohio. Give Derek a call at 234-716-1687. Creating magic since 2007. Shout out to Nova Digital Arts for our sponsor tonight.
Mike, you know what else is magic?
The Cleveland Guardians.
The Cleveland Guardians.
What a tag. I love it. That's awesome. I'm stunned. I couldn't be any happier. Since we last recorded, guys, we said that they controlled their destiny. Mm-hmm. We said that it was up to them.
And they just
Guardians had to do it.
They just put a beat down on everybody in their path. 2 weeks ago, I believe they were only 4 games in first place or something like that, close to that.
Yep.
Since the Seattle sweep, because when the last time we talked, we said it was a kind of a tale of 2 weeks. We were very angry at the end of that 1 week where they lost 2 in a row to the Orioles and then got swept by Seattle. And we were very concerned at that point because Seattle was going to be a potential playoff team if we won the division. Since that point, they are 18-3.
Yeah, guys, in 21 games, 18-3 since September the 4th. That's insane. They basically, I love the tweet that they put out. They remember all the naysayers. They remember all the people that said this team would be trash and would be garbage and
was going to finish in last
dead
place.
Last, and they're only going to win 60 games and all this nonsense. Hey, guess what? We talked about it since day one when we started this podcast that this team was going to do something and they were going to do something special. I said wild card. You said they'd fall just a little bit short.
I said
I love that we're both wrong. I'm happy that they're going to the playoffs. I am ecstatic.
But you're right. We at least said they would be competitive. We at least said we weren't burying this team. We said they were going to have a youth movement. We were both a little irritated that they didn't make some moves. We were both a little irritated they didn't make some moves at the trade deadline. I still think that they could have gotten some pieces that could help them in this playoff push. But if they're not one of the hottest teams in baseball right now, I don't know who is.
It's funny that you say that. They are indeed the hottest team in baseball right now, 9-1 in their last 10 games, winners of 7 straight. The Yankees have also won 7 straight, but we're hotter than they are. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. We're 9-1. We sweep the White Sox. We sweep the Rangers. And now we're going to the playoffs.
Won 4 out of 5 against the Twins. Yeah. When they had to show up against the division to the 2 contenders who were still contenders at the time, we have basically just crushed their hopes and dreams of both of those teams. And now they're both under 500.
Yeah.
We have a 10-game lead in the division now.
Who would have thought? I think when we recorded last, we had a 4-game lead. That's it.
So get this too. Here's another part of this. for the longest time, and even as of last week, we were saying this was division or bust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only are we leading the division by 10 games, but let's say the White Sox were a 90 plus win team right now, they would actually have the wild card lead. And that's the
Yeah.
first time that's been the case in a while. So they do have, I believe they're tied with Toronto, same record as Toronto. And if the playoffs started right now, we'd be hosting Seattle. An interesting point to that, I didn't realize this for a little while. We would be hosting all 3 games
Yes.
if there's
So
3
we were
games.
both, yeah, I know we were texting back and forth. I had no idea that they had the team with the better record had home field advantage through the whole
Not
thing.
not just home field advantage, not like 2-1. They get all
Yeah.
3. So that would be
So
huge.
as of this recording, so September 26th at 7:10 p.m., the Toronto Blue Jays have a 2.5 game lead on wild card spot number 1. Tampa Bay is a half game back at 84 and 69, and Seattle is in third place, losers of they're 3-7 in their last 10 games. Seattle has been hit hard by the injury bug as we near the end of the season. The all-star, all rookie Julio Rodriguez is on the disabled list, and Bryan Shaw had some breaking news that I was unaware of concerning Jesse Winker.
So as of this recording, a couple hours before this, we found out, all of Cleveland found out Myles Garrett was in a car accident.
Yeah, his Porsche crashed.
And I guess he's going to be okay, but some minor injuries. And as I was looking through those injuries, looking on Twitter to find out how hurt he was,
Mhm.
I found that Garrett, the pitcher, hit Jesse Winker with a pitch, and he might have a wrist injury that some people are saying might be a broken wrist. I wasn't able to find much more on that, but that would be another blow to Seattle.
Yeah, and they're reeling right now.
And Jesse Winker, you've heard us talk about a lot because he was rumored in a trade with the Guardians in the offseason. They ended up
Yeah.
not being able to make that deal. And probably for the better because Winker's not having a good season. And if we did make that deal, you don't see Stephen Kwan, who could potentially win Rookie of the Year now. And you may not see Oscar Gonzalez, who is also having an incredible rookie campaign.
Right. So let's be honest. Seattle locked up Luis Castillo long term. Good for them. Happy for Seattle. But guess what, man? We have 9 games left, all at home. We could have
Gotta
a
show up.
potential playoff series against Tampa Bay. Bieber versus Kluber tomorrow night in Cleveland. You couldn't write a better story.
I'm sure people who would be watching our podcast are the ones showing up, but now it's time to start telling your family and friends
Mhm.
who this team is, and they need to start showing up for the last home stand here, and then for the playoff games to support this team. Very cool to see all the fans go to the airport yesterday
Oh,
and
that
greet
was
the team.
incredible.
Hedges was loving it.
Mhm.
He was ecstatic. Josh Naylor was loving it. The video of all the celebrating in the locker room, you could tell that these guys have really rallied around Tito and the leadership he has brought, and the stories that are coming out of just the camaraderie with these guys. It's a really exciting time. And they did it by playing incredible baseball in September. I
Yeah.
mean, I have just a slew of stats. Some of these come from our friend on Twitter, CLE Stats, who
Mhm.
I tweeted a few, and then he added a few extra on top of that. But in September, the team is 5th in on base percentage, lowest K rate in Major League Baseball. But that was expected. They've been doing that all year.
Right.
First in stolen bases with 29.
Yep.
They are first in hits with 234, first in triples with 7. They are just the relievers are fourth in ERA at 275, fourth in opponent average at 198. The starters are third in ERA in September at 307. So just incredible
Yeah. I
baseball.
mean,
And
this.
one caveat there also, real quick, for the relievers, They have the fourth best ERA, fourth best opponent average. They also have the sixth most innings. So they're getting work.
Yeah, they are.
Because we've had some injuries. Savali
Mm-hmm.
just finally now came back. Plezak's coming back, I believe, Friday.
As long as all goes well, he made his rehab start on Saturday for the Columbus Clippers. Went 5 scoreless innings. He only threw 65 pitches, allowed 2 hits, and had 5 Ks. So, but we'll get to all of that. I've got plenty to say on that. But what I want to say is this: we've got some new faces with the team since we last recorded. This team I mean, it was a little bit of a shock to me, these 2 moves. Gabriel Arias, infielder extraordinaire, who now plays first base as well, second, short, and third.
And I believe he got some time in the outfield.
He did. He played left field and a couple of games in right field. So Gabriel Arias comes up, and Will Brennan, who we were saying should have come up long ago because he's been tearing the cover off the ball. Will Brennan is here, but unfortunately,
not Will Benson, but Will Brennan.
Will Benson is still
and a
here.
Brennan.
Yes, both rookies. We'll get to that in a minute, but we had to say goodbye to utility man extraordinaire and relief pitcher Ernie Clement, who was designated for assignment in order to make room for Will Brennan. Clement was picked up by the Oakland A's. So good luck to Ernie. It's a roster move, and it's a business decision. He just wasn't really getting it done. Obviously, he could be that utility guy and play all over the field. He just wasn't hitting. And I think that the team has this youth movement that we've been seeing all season long. And Arias and Brennan are a part of that youth movement, and they're here.
They don't have room for fringe players anymore. We saw that with Oscar Mercado and Bobby Bradley and Franmil Reyes. And by the way, Franmil Reyes has definitely gone back to his old ways.
He's not even playing. He hasn't played in the last several games with the Cubs. They haven't even had him in the lineup.
Because he's batting 172 or something like that in September.
Yeah, and for all those fans that got mad that were like, I can't believe we got rid of Franmil.
I said on our last podcast, I wish we would have kept him, but
goodbye. It's one of those things. He didn't cut it here. He didn't do what they brought him in to do. This man has mammoth power, but he struck out way too much. He has no plate discipline. He didn't look like he was fully invested in this team. He was overweight. He was unathletic. He was a liability defensively. All we could do was play him at DH, but when you're batting 200 and striking out 3 times a game, there's no room for you. Bradley gets released. Franmil gets released.
Yu
Chang gone. Now with Boston, and he's been with Tampa, and he's been with Pittsburgh. I mean, all these people have been moved around.
Alex Call was up here for a cup of tea.
I don't know where he is now. I think is he
Philly?
still in Washington?
Washington?
Washington may have gotten rid of him. I don't know. And I know that Mercado's still with us. He's in AAA.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really hoping that he can find it. But I don't think we need him right now. He's a depth piece, if nothing more. You got Richie Palacios, who was here, then he was gone, then he was back, then he was gone again. Now he's back. And guess what? Now he's gone again. Option back to AAA to make room for Gabriel Arias. Brennan has looked solid. 15 at-bats. He only has 4 hits. He got 2 hits in his very first game. He's got 3 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. He's hitting 267. I know that's not eye-popping,
but it's early. I mean, he's had few at-bats, and Arias had that triple on Sunday. You know, that's a good sign. I wouldn't take his early season stats as something to hold against him. We've talked about kind of quite a bit about sometimes these guys need to go back down and figure something out and to be patient. And Andrés Giménez is a perfect example of that. You were on his bandwagon for all season long. I was hesitant on him at the early part of the season. And again, happy to be wrong on that.
Yeah.
But you just don't always know. I mean, even Tristan McKenzie had to spend some time in AAA last season. And once he came back, he looked like an ace and has through most of this season. So sometimes these guys need a little bit time in AAA. So just because Palacios is back down, or just because Arias was down for a little while, it doesn't mean that these guys aren't going to be key contributors potentially in the future. But it is nice to see guys like Will Brennan. When it comes to the playoff roster, I would guess somebody like Will Benson, who hasn't seen a lot of playing time lately, is probably one of those guys that won't make it, because we are going to have to not include two guys. We won't have to cut them, but we're at 28 right now. We'll have to be back to 26.
And I begin to wonder if that's going to be, will this team carry 2 extra pitchers and get rid of 2, position players, or will they do 1 and 1? Will Cody Morris still be here? I mean, there's plenty of guys that they're going to have to shift and move and do all sorts of things with, because playoff rosters are due, I believe, October. I want to say October 3rd, which is
I'll give you a hot take.
Sure. What's that?
If Plesac doesn't look good, he doesn't make the playoff roster.
Well, hold on. We'll talk about Mr. Plesac in a minute. Don't steal my thunder, Mr. Shaw. Don't steal my thunder. I've got something nice to say about Mr. Plesac. But this team has had 16 rookies that have played at one point or another. That's the first time in MLB history that that's happened. That many rookies in one season. They're the youngest team in baseball. No one gave them a chance. Everyone wrote them off before the season started. We told you they were exciting. Trust me, the team remembers everyone who said something negative or unkind. They know. It's bulletin board material. They know. Trust me, they've paid attention to everything. But we will have an October to remember. This team is clicking on all cylinders. 9-1 in their last 10 games, guys. It's basic right there. That shirt says absolutely everything you need to know. This Guardians team, I wouldn't want to play anybody. I don't think any team wants to play them right now. They are that hot.
We're hearing that. We're hearing that from some of the reporters. If you were listening to any of the MLB Network, they were talking about that because of the style of baseball, the disgusting brand of baseball that the Cleveland Guardians bring. It's been interesting as this has gotten talked about more, and the nuance and why it works, because the pressure that it puts on a pitcher, the pressure that it puts on infielders. We saw there was a hit by, I believe it was Ahmed Rosario, and all it took was a double pump from the second baseman, and Rosario was safe. It was a cleanly fielded ball. All it took was a double pump on his part, and him just kind of nonchalantly playing that, and Rosario was safe.
Yeah. I mean, Rosario has wheels.
All these guys have wheels.
He's just one of the guys that I want to talk about for a minute. What a season for these guys. Think about this for a minute. Oscar Gonzalez. He's hitting 289, 11 home runs, 42 RBIs. He looks incredible here.
As you go through each one, I'm going to give you their September numbers too. So you got the season, I'll have the September.
Yep. Oscar Gonzalez
in September, batting 298, 339 on base percentage, 19 RBIs.
Ahmed Rosario hitting 280, 11 home runs, 69 RBIs, 17 stolen bases, and a home at shortstop.
In September, 286 on base percentage, 17 RBIs. And what, a 4 or 5 hit game in that very long extra innings game that was crucial against the Twins.
He carried us on his back. Then you've got the man that should be American League MVP, but he won't be because voting is skewed, and they're going to give it to Aaron Judge because he's going to win the Triple Crown. He's going to break Roger Maris's home run record. I get all that. You take Aaron Judge off that team still wins a bunch of games. You take Jose Ramirez off this team, we're not that good.
And especially because of the leadership that he brings.
Yeah. So 275, 28 home runs, 117 RBIs, 18 stolen bases.
In September, a 342 on base percentage, 11 RBIs. This is why this team has been so successful in September. And it keeps going. Keep going,
Yep.
Mike.
Andres Jimenez, my man. 303 batting average, 17 home runs, 68 RBIs, 19 stolen bases, and a position permanently at second base.
And probably a Gold Glove.
Yes.
In September, this man is batting .310 with a .414 on base percentage.
Just gets on base. He's really good. One of my favorite players. The stats may not be eye-popping, but guess what? This guy's one of my favorites. Josh Naylor, hitting .258, 19 home runs, 73 RBIs. This guy's energy is so super contagious. I would love to bottle it up and sell it.
This
Just
is the
the
guy that
memes.
headbutted Terry Francona, and Francona welcomed it by putting on a helmet.
I want the smoke. I want all the smoke. Remember that? Same guy. What's he doing in September?
Oh, just a .340 on base percentage with 12 RBIs. That's all.
Josh Naylor, folks.
And single-handedly wiped the White Sox off of the map.
Yeah, Josh Naylor. And then the man, I'm going to get choked up about this guy. The man, he has to be American League Rookie of the Year. If not, there is something broken. He has absolutely been crucial to this lineup.
Especially as he's been moved to the leadoff spot.
Stephen Kwan, 298, 6 home runs, 49 RBIs, 19 stolen bases.
Mike, think about that. We have 2 rookies on this team, 2 rookie outfielders whose batting averages are close to 300.
Yeah.
Stephen Kwan in September, a .388 on base percentage, 12 RBIs. One more RBI than Jose. Let's
talk about Stephen Kwan for just a second, because I think his story is incredible. Guy makes the team out of spring training, and everybody's going, "Who's this Stephen Kwan guy?" He's not one of our top prospects. Well, who is this guy? What does he do when he starts the season? Doesn't strike out, gets on base, 19 consecutive times before he gets out? Like, it was some ridiculous stat to start the season. And everybody's like, "Oh, well, he can't keep up this pace." You're right. He didn't. He cooled off for a little bit, but then he found it again, and he put the team on his back, and he's been incredible. He hits righties well. He hits lefties well. He's an excellent defender. He's made some of the most ridiculous catches that I have ever seen in my time as a fan.
Another guy that should have a Gold Glove.
He reminds me so much of Kenny Lofton in the 90s when Lofton was patrolling center field. Those batting statistics speak Kenny Lofton to me. And Lofton was at the top of the lineup, and he would get on base, and he'd do whatever he needed to get on base. That's all Kwan does.
I got one more September shout out. Speaking of center field, Miles Straw, who has had his struggles this season, had a terrible July, just an awful July.
I was ready to get him. I was ready to get rid of him.
372 on base percentage this month.
How many stolen bases does Miles Straw have this season?
Let's look.
I did not, for whatever reason, write that down, and I don't know why.
So we have like several guys that are all
almost 20 stolen bases. Like, that's nuts to me. Like, that's just crazy.
3 guys are tied with 19. Jimenez, Kwan, and Straw. Jose has 18. Rosario has 17. So it's the race to 20.
That's insane. Miles Straw has he hasn't hit a home run this year. That's fine. I don't care. We don't pay him to hit home runs.
But he has 3 triples.
And he has 28 RBIs. Like, he's a career 250 hitter. Like,
he could come around. He can come around.
He's gotten hot as of late. He had 2 hits in the game Sunday in the clinching game. But you can't forget these role players. Owen Miller, Tyler Freeman. We talked about Will Benson. He may not be hitting, but he's played pretty good defense. Gabriel Arias, Luke Mailey, backup catcher that everybody was like, "Oh, what are the Guardians going to do big?" He was our big offseason acquisition when we signed him, and he's hit. Then you got Miles Straw, but the guy that I think that gets no love on this team is Austin Hedges.
Mike, you didn't give Austin Hedges any love all season.
No, but I'm giving it to him now because he is the glue that holds this pitching staff together. This guy may never hit more than his body weight, ever. He does hit some home runs here and there, and he's come up with some big hits this year. But that's not why he's here. He's here because he's one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. He knows how to call a game. He has controlled this pitching staff when no one thought it could be done. He made Bieber look Bieber-esque again. Tristan McKenzie has come full circle at being, he's almost our ace. He turned around Quantrill. He made Plesac look good. He's made Savali look great. Cody Morris, your man Connor Pilkington, he made him look good too. Austin Hedges is so important to this team. I don't feel he gets enough credit for what he does.
It does take a special talent. Think about how many swing and misses that our pitchers get when they throw a ball in the dirt.
Yeah.
And you need a catcher who's going to be able to get those pitches. So he's been very good defensively, but he was known for that, and we've known that out of him. We just needed a little bit of offense, and he's come on as well. So
just get a couple of hits every game, and I'm okay.
One more September shout out, and this also comes from our friend at Cleveland Stats. Pitcher, reliever, your weapon, Sam Hedges. Listen to this. In the last 10 games, 13 innings pitched, no earned runs.
You're talking pitching. This bullpen has been great. James Karinchak, a 1.53 earned run average. Emmanuel Clase, 1.46 earned run average. Best closer in baseball right now. Unsung heroes. Sam Hedges, who you just mentioned. Nick Sandlin, 220 earned run average. He went to AAA, figured it out. He's come back. He's been dynamic.
He had his struggles. He couldn't find the strike zone there for a little while.
How about 40 Rule 5 pick Trevor Stephan?
Another huge one. He came from the Yankees.
2.69 ERA. He's been lights out. How about Enyel De Los Santos, a guy that was another who?
I believe we got him from Pittsburgh.
3.10 earned run average.
They have put together a very good bullpen. And we had talked about that we were hoping at the beginning of the season, because how many of those guys, Eli Morgan, Sam Hedges, were starters last year?
Morgan off the list.
He's
struggled as of late, but
my point is
he's accepted that relief role and has ran with it.
But my point is, they were able to take some of those guys that were thrusted into the starting lineup last year and made them into quality relievers this year. And I think that experience really helped them when they had all those injuries. So with a little bit time here left, Mike.
Yep.
Let's assume every scenario is up in the air here when it comes to the wild card, because it could be.
Okay.
Who would you rather play? Who is on your list?
I want Tampa round one. I do, because I want Bieber and Kluber in the playoffs. And I think that would be an incredible story to tell.
And
it's the team that matches up with us extremely well. Honorable mention, Toronto. I would like to play Toronto.
So you want everybody but Seattle?
Seattle's falling apart. I'd play them too. Right now, this team is on fire. So put whoever in our way. Yes.
So you predicting a wild card series victory?
I think so. Yes. If the Guardians have changed their pitching rotation, Shane Bieber goes tomorrow. Tristan McKenzie goes Wednesday.
There'll be starters 1-2.
Stays the same. That's your opening 1 and 2. And Quantrill's been 3. He's been really good. You've got Savali, who has seemed to have found it. He looked good on Sunday. You've got Plesac, who may be with the team. He may not. Connor Pilkington, honorable mention, and Cody Morris. Those two guys have been dynamic. When we lost Savali and Plesac, everybody's like, oh no, what are we going to do? Guess what? We had reserves, and we've done what we've always done as Cleveland fans. We had next man up.
And remember, in the playoffs, you usually only send your starter out for 5 or 6 innings.
Yeah.
So you may need a Plesac who can come in a relief role.
Just don't get hurt and punch them out if you get mad.
2-3 innings after the starter. Because if the starter only can go 4, you might need Plesac to be that secondary starter in the middle of that long relief.
And as long as he keeps his mental faculties in check and doesn't punch the mound or rip off his shirt in anger and tear something, I'm fine. This team is on cloud 9. I'm on cloud nine as a fan. Who do you want, Brian? First round. Who do you want?
I think Tampa, even though they are, I think Tampa. I would like Tampa.
Okay.
I'll spit it out. I'd
All
like
right.
to face Tampa. I think they're hurting. I think they're kind of on the downswing. So if I had to pick one of the three, I'd pick Tampa. Even though
Tampa is 4-6 in their last 10 games, losers of 2 straight.
Seattle's struggling right now, I know that, but
Losers of
we've
1 in a row.
we
Yep.
only won one game against them this year,
Yeah.
and we have Tampa coming up, so we'll find out about Tampa here real soon. We'll find out about Tampa, but I do like their chances in the wild card. It's going to be home. Hopefully the crowds show up.
Oh,
But
they will. Who's beating the drum? It's not a playoff game unless somebody takes over for John Adams and beats that drum. We need it in Cleveland. So I'm asking,
Well,
I'm begging.
I hope they get somebody. They had
Can
Patrick
they get
Carney
the guy
do it.
from the Black Keys? Can
Yeah.
they get somebody
Patrick
that's a legend? Get him up in the bleachers, give him a free ticket, let him beat that drum, because we're going to need that in Cleveland as some extra mojo to get us over that wild card hump.
And so then if they do, they're probably playing the Yankees.
Bring it on.
You like their chances against the Yankees?
Bring it on. I think
I've heard some people say that the long ball doesn't usually translate to October.
Nope. It doesn't.
And that good pitching and good relieving and the way that the Guardians have been playing baseball, that will have an easier time translating than, because you said, I believe on the last podcast, just pitch around Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Just pitch around Aaron Judge and
you're okay.
And if those batters get cold for a couple of games, which keep in mind, the Yankees are going to have a long period of time off.
Yeah.
Because they'll have to wait through the entire wild card series before there's a winner, and then they'll play a series. So they're going to have like 5 days off.
Yeah.
Before they play.
I like our chances. I really do. I like our chances against any team right now in the American League. The National League is a completely different bird. But I like our chances. I really, really do. We're going to have to do a playoff preview pod. That's going to be our next one. I'll tease it now. 9 games, guys. That's what we've got left. 3 against Tampa, 6 against Kansas City. And then we go into October.
Either way, as we've said all season, it's going to be exciting.
Hey,
so get on
win
board.
Or lose.
Get your Guardians,
guys. Win or lose. They have had a season to remember that when no one gave them a chance.
Where can people find you, Mike?
On Facebook and Twitter, I am at Mike Vorhies. Brian, where can they find you? Where can they find us?
At Weathershaw, WXSHAW. I post some of those stats that I was talking about. I've been trolling the White Sox Twitter page for the past week. That's been a lot of fun. They're kind of mad at me right now, but hey, they were talking smack. They told us we were going to crumble, and the crumble cookie crumbled in their court. Apparently this time around. But you can find us at Guardcast MLB on Twitter and then MLB Guardcast on Facebook. We are in both places. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, we're also on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can listen to us on Spotify and Apple.
Like, follow, share, subscribe, all that stuff. That's how we know you're listening and that you like what we're doing. Brian, this has been so much fun and I cannot wait. 9 games to go. Let's see if we can win out. Might as well have some fun with it now. We got the division, so now let's just have our cake and eat it too.
Yeah, they're gonna rest a couple guys here and there. You'll see Jose DHing and Arias playing third and Freeman playing third, and just to get these guys a little bit of rest before the playoff push. But it's nice to have that luxury. It's really nice to have that luxury.
October is going to be sweet, folks. It's going to be so much fun.
We'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
See you soon.